Hello and welcome back to the Absolute Terrific Football channel. Today I just want to be looking at Manchester United. I don't normally do a single team performance, but this was so poor that there's a lot to say about where the club is going. So first of all, I want to look at the lineup. The lineup, if you're going to play Brentford, actually not just Brentford, a lot of the bottom half teams, they're going to be more physical because they need to make use of their attributes because they know they don't have the technical players of the big teams. But he started with a defence of Maguire and Martinez. This game was definitely not for Lisandro Martinez. It was a Rafael Varane game, even an Eric Bailly game. Harry Maguire makes sense because he has the physical attributes, well he should do, because he's 6'4". But Lisandro Martinez, barely 5'9", he just couldn't handle it. It's just a 50-50 with Ivan Toney or Mbuma, and he just couldn't deal with it because of obviously physical lacking. When you look at the defensive midfield partnership of Eriksen and Fred, that does not make sense at all. Christian Eriksen's never played that deep. When he does, it's for very short periods when Tottenham were desperate or Inter Milan were desperate. He never did it for Brentford last season. He was always maybe the first one furthest forward for Brentford or the second furthest forward. He was never deep. He can do a pass or two, but not play there against a team like Brentford, who will be all over you because that's really all they've got. They've got physicality and a good coach, Thomas Frank. Fred is not a defensive midfielder either, really. He's the closest thing they have at the moment, Manchester United. But this was definitely, you needed three in the midfield, or it had to be McTominay, even though he was so poor against Brighton. So the way that it all goes in circles, really. You don't want to play McTominay, but you have to because Eriksen's your only other choice, really. Van der Beek, if he'd have played there, that would have made more sense, really, because he's got a bit more about him than Eriksen. The front four, well, Ronaldo has checked out because it's clear to see on that performance and last week against Brighton, he doesn't want to be there. Why would he want to be there? He could score a hat-trick today and they still would have lost 4-3. It's absolutely ridiculous. If his head was there, he would have scored one or two in the second half. He would have gotten back in the game, but he just doesn't. He hasn't got the energy for it, I don't think, either. Looking at him, he just looks like he hasn't got the delivery. He won't score a rocket every 2 games. He'll score a screamer every probably 15-20 games. So that's not going to where it is. It's about quick play for him in the box. Rashford, he wants to leave. His agent wants him to leave. He wants to leave. Man United don't. But why would you not take 60 million from PSG? We don't know if that's completely true, but 60 million for Rashford, who gets very, very few attributes in the game, and the more he's got speed. His dribbling looks like he hasn't worked on it for 2 years. I don't know what's going on. His shooting is just... That was one thing about Rashford, apart from the amazing speed, is his shooting. He had good technique. 2 or 3 years ago, his technique was one of the things that you shone. You thought, oh, he can score 20 goals a season with his shooting technique. But he looks like he's not been concentrating on football, if you ask me. Sancho, well, I don't know what about Sancho. I guess the Bundesliga is very, very poor compared to the Premier League. That's all I can say. He's dropped off a cliff. No assists, no goals. It's just crazy. And Fernandes, I'll give Fernandes a break, because if Fernandes was in a better team, he would get more goals and assists. I think he'd be a good player. His attitude is bad though, because he misplaces a pass. He blames the other player because they didn't go to the right position, and when they pass it to him wrong, he complains. It's just not good enough from the whole team. And finally, David De Gea. How can we miss him? He's made so many mistakes in the last 3 years, but never gets called out because he does his job and gets one-on-ones and he saves them. He's good at one-on-one shots. He's good at rebounds, but when it comes to passing out from the back, he cannot do that job. It's not a problem. Don't do passing out from the back then with him. But this is Erik ten Hag. He's going to want him to clip balls into the midfield. He's going to want him to go to the right back, left back. He's going to want him to hit a ball over the top for, not Cristiano Ronaldo, maybe Cristiano Ronaldo. He's still got a bit of pace, but more for Rashford and Sancho. That's what he was. If it was Ederson or Alisson, they'd be clipping balls over the top because Rashford is the quickest player in the league, basically. He's not going to do that. He's a basic keeper, very, very, very good at shot stopping. But other than that, his physicality is not good enough. He loses his head at times. So for Manchester United, this 11 is not going to work against anyone, especially Brentford, with their physicality, as I said. Erik ten Hag, where does he go from here? Anyway, I don't really know what else to say about Man United. The game was too easy for Brentford, and next week they've got Liverpool. Wow, how is this going to turn out? 7-0? Anyway, thank you very much for watching. See you later.